told you I was going to say ditto after everything Ed said. It is pretty much ditto, but I do want to hit on a few numbers here in Story County. I've got with me the budget book, Story County. This is actually produced by Mary Bozeman and her outstanding staff. It is a wonderful publication. If you want to truly know what's going on in Story County, the numbers inside this book are awful. They're terrible. Mary doesn't have anything to do with that. Mary reports the facts. The way they're reported is wonderful. And I just want to, this is, if you were to ask me the one reason that I was running, I would hold up this book. The excessive taxes, the excessive spending, the fact that we have no long-range plan that lays out our priorities, the fact that we believe that we can budget to spend $5.5 million more than we're bringing in and think that it's acceptable is ridiculous to me. Now, our supervisors do a lot of other things and they have a lot of other responsibilities. But if we don't get this in order, you're going to continue to see things like you saw last Tuesday, where we for the first time ever, create a waiting list for those individuals here in Story County who are suffering with mental health issues. I'm a small government guy. I'm an unapologetic small government guy. But government is necessary. It's necessary in several areas. And the simple fact is, if we're not taking care of those people with the mental health issues on the front end in the right way, doing the things that we need to do, we're going to be paying more for it on the back end anyway in terms of law enforcement and incarceration and everything else. And we had to establish a waiting list, making us one of 6 counties in the state of Iowa to go to a waiting list for those things because we didn't have enough money. And then what really got me going is at that same meeting, we approved a year-long extension to a consultant to work in the supervisor's office at $100 an hour because apparently we have enough money. The two are not directly related. It's not as simple as taking money out of one fund and putting it in another, but it's got to tell you something about our priorities. So I just jotted down a few numbers here. I am really going hard about this year's budget where we have $40.1 million in expenses and $34.7 million in revenues. $5.4 million upside down in a budget, and we call this our plan. We say this is the plan we're going to live with, and if we live with it, in fact, we cut our reserve funds, or in essence our savings account, in half in 1 year, and cut it to the point that we could never do something like this again, and we wonder how we're going to budget next year. Mary, how does it get done?
We have no plan.
There's nothing, there is no plan. But then I started saying, well, maybe it's an anomaly. I know in 2008 when I ran against Wayne we were doing the same thing, but maybe that was an anomaly too. So I went back and looked. Since FY07, the last 5 years, these are actual numbers with the exception of this year, which is budgeted numbers. We brought in $169 million, and we've spent $186 million. About $17 million more than we brought in. 10 cents on every dollar. We're spending over what we're bringing in here in Story County. Of that just over $16.5 million, we borrowed $12.5 million of it for things like repairing existing roads. Now we've got 210 miles of paved roads here in Story County. 207, I think, if you want to get right down to it. But call it 210. And if you accept the premise that a well-built road will last for 30 years, then it means we better be doing 7 miles of paved road every year just to keep pace. Because the first time we pave a road, I believe we commit to its ongoing upkeep as part of our general operating dollars. Right now we're budgeting to repair about 3 miles of road a year. And it's issues like that that are completely driving me nuts. And then any of you who follow me on Facebook knows that last Tuesday I asked for the opportunity to get up and speak about this extension for the consultant. This consultant has been on the payroll now for 17 or 18 months, Mary? Yeah. And he had a contract that's due to be up here at the end of December 2010. And written into the contract, it says this contract may be extended for 3 months at a time. But our supervisors decided, no, that wasn't good enough. We're going to go ahead and extend it for a year right now. We're going to extend it to December 31st of 2011. We're going to keep paying him $100 an hour. We're going to burden a new board with that decision. And we're going to do it on the consent agenda. Consent agenda means that we're not even going to discuss it. We're going to put it on a list. And at the beginning of the meeting, we say all those in favor say aye. Everybody says aye. And away we go. So I read this on the budget, and I immediately sent an email to the supervisors. and our chair, Wayne Clinton. And I just asked, I said, please take this off the consent agenda. Please at least give us an opportunity to discuss this. Not only does this burden a new board coming in as of about the 1st of January 2011, but it also burdens us into another fiscal year. We already know we're in big trouble. We already know we're going to have trouble budgeting, and now you're encumbering us with this contract for 6 months into the next fiscal year. Please let us discuss it. Wayne did a great job. He pulled it off the consent agenda. He referred to the email that was sent by some constituent. Pulled it off, and they discussed it. And they had a very nice conversation about it, and a couple of them had reasons why they should extend it for a year, and one of them pointed out the contract, and I got up and I walked up to the podium and I thought, okay, here's my opportunity just to tell them, hey, you guys are the supervisors, you make the decision that you think is best, but try to follow the contract that you have established, and if you feel like you need to go beyond that, at least don't go beyond the next fiscal year where you don't have any budgetary responsibility. This board will not set the budget for FY 2012. And so I stood there and I waited my turn to speak, and as we go through the whole thing, Wayne decided at some point that he was not going to accept any public comment on this issue, which for me is a fundamental right of citizens, that you have the right to talk to your elected officials. I actually have put up all the audio from that 6-minute span where that happened on my website, and I would encourage any of you to listen to it, but probably more importantly, encourage your friends to listen to it, because it gives you a great feel of what's going on with our Board of Supervisors. I am not a believer in making campaign promises. I'll tell you that I'll do my best. I'll tell you what I believe in and how I would handle certain issues. But I will make you absolutely 2 promises right now. I promise to work as hard as I can from now till November 2nd to make a change here in Story County. And I promise that if elected, I will work hard every single day, remembering always that I serve you guys. That this is all about our supervisors serving us. Ed had it exactly right. Local government, county government specifically, is where the rubber meets the road. It's where ultimately the services and government intervention in any way, shape, or form gets back to the public. We have to do a better job. I'm so appreciative to all of you for being here. I do need your help. I do need you to tell 12 of your friends. And I need direction wherever I can get it. And I need you just to stay aware, stay engaged, stay involved, and we'll get it done. Thank you very much.